G'day and welcome to another episode of Cuppa with the Jesuit. I'm Father Robin Koning, the Vocations Director for the Australian Jesuits.
With Father Robin, I'm Julian Butler, a Jesuit in formation for priesthood, and we're joined today by Father Renato Zecchin. Renato, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Father Renato, we might begin with your current ministry. Would you tell us a bit about what your work is at the moment?
I'm at the Australian Jesuits Navition here in Adelaide. It's based at St Ignatius College, and we're using the it's called Manresa Navition, and we're using the Manresa residence. In the past, been used for people who are living here and teaching at St Ignatius College. So next to the Novitiate is St Ignatius College. So I'm here. There's myself and Chris Horvat. So Chris is the socialist, and he's helping in this ministry of formation of young men who come to join the novitiate.
Renato, would you tell us a little bit more about what that process of novitiate entails, what you guide a young man through?
Well, young men apply and they come to the novitiate. They're chosen basically by the provincial, and they came here for 2 years of looking at their vocation, and it's really a time of discernment and also reflection. And there's an openness of whether they come in as a priest or as a brother. That's left open to them, and then they can make their mind up at the end of the novitiate, even later on. So a lot of our journey with them is really to be with that young person as they reflect on their call, their vocation, but also we take them through different sort of ways of deepening that sense of God in their lives. And that means through prayer, reflection, study. But also the key thing is doing the spiritual exercise of St Ignatius as the base of their journey as a Jesuit, as they look at their vocation and call, and also look for some sort of confirmation. But that also can come later. So if I can put it at the heart of the thing for me, is really the spiritual, but also the human development of that person that comes to us and what's happening to them as a person. That's very important for us, and also for them to get to know themselves, get to know the Society of Jesus, and also to get to know the vocation that they want to choose, or they're being asked to, or they're looking for to give their life to. Get to know the Society of Jesus. So that's sort of three elements.
Thanks, Renato. And this is a reasonably new appointment for you. For many years, you were working overseas in Pakistan. Would you like to say something about your various ministries that you were involved in there, and when you went there, and what the work there involved?
I went there in 1984. So when I first went to Pakistan, I went there. At that time I was a Jesuit brother, and I worked in a parish doing youth work. That was my work. So I'd been an outreach youth worker in Richmond for 7 years. St Ignatius Parish at Richmond in Victoria for 7 years as an outreach youth worker. So I was asked to go there, and I'd volunteered actually to go to Pakistan in 1980. Then Phil Duffy, they made the decision to send us in 1984. So there we go. So that was interesting. So when I first went there, of course, the first thing is to acculturate and then acclimatize. So the first thing was to learn language. That was for a few months. And then when I went to the parish, the 2 Sri Lankan Jesuits there was asked to be part of that community, which I was very happy to be part of. And then a lot of my work was to really get to know the parish area, understand the different areas, because in terms of understanding parish, there's a lot of rural areas, there's inner city areas and city areas. So I understand the dynamic of the parish and how to make contacts. And also that there are small pockets of Christians, and then some bigger areas where you might have 100 families, 200 families, some areas small. So I just understand and get to know those communities, and then to sort of be centered on focusing on youth. And the kind of thing that I did was set up what they call representative ministry of young people from all the areas. So we'd come together from those various areas as a way of linking together. So that was really important for me to be part of that youth ministry. and also that with the two Jesuits that lived in, there was one man called Jacob Fernando, and he was keen on youth leadership. So we did a lot of youth leadership in terms of the parish and doing that kind of work, but also a lot of other programs that we did was linking groups together, having meetings together so that we could organise cricket tournaments. The cricket is famous, of course, it's really popular in Pakistan. So it was a great time, you know, having these cricket tournaments. The other thing the young people like, and I've found that even in Australia, they love going on tours, if you know what I mean. They like going to camps, they like going on outings. And that was really important for me because I really believe that's why you build up community. And also it's a lovely way of helping the young people and getting to know them, and also responding to different needs that we had. And the other thing that we did when I was there just with the youth ministry was to set up scholarships for young people. So if they want to go to college or need help with fees going to schools, they were able to help with kids. And because we're dealing with the majority of people are poor, and our target group, of course, was the Christians, but also we were open to having young Muslims with us, but that was a bit difficult, especially we're talking about, you know, Christian spirituality and issues concerning Christians, and there were usually tensions between Christians and Muslims, so you had to get the right balance. We didn't have many, and I think that was a better situation. We can meet in other ways, in other circumstances, so that was what I was doing there. Wonderful memories of my time with the youth in that area. But as things changed for me, I also was given permission by the province to be ordained as a priest. I studied, come back for a few years, and I went to Pakistan and worked with as a priest. And when you go as a priest, you've got to work with everyone, if you know what I mean, in that terms of that. So I had worked in a parish area for a while, and worked at building up what they call a participatory church, which I really enjoyed. And I think I got the benefit of being able to do that sort of ministry because I studied in the Philippines. I did a course there in the Philippines, understanding what a participatory church. So I brought that skills, that gift back to the people that I worked with in Pakistan. So I worked on that model within the parish area. The time came when I was asked to leave the parish, and I was asked to take on the spiritual work of spirituality at Lila Hall. I was asked to take on the job as superior of the mission. So that changes the dynamic when you're superior of the mission in many ways. And I think if you go on mission, you got to be able to do anything. Honestly, you got to fit in and do anything. So I did that work for many years. And also then I was responsible for the management and administration of Lila Hall, as well as the spirituality ministry.
Renato, you mentioned that missionary work going to Pakistan was something that you'd asked to do. Was being a missionary something that you'd considered before joining? What was it that inspired you to join the Jesuits?
Well, it really was, I saw this photo of Brian Slack, and I remember he was a Jesuit working in Ranchi with the Jesuits there. And there was a photo of him, and I was discerning when I was young, I was 23, thinking about what to do with my life. And that I was interested in helping the poor, you know, and I used to work in the parish where I was living at Prospect in South Australia, like same as the poor part of that. And I had that sort of desire of serving as a missionary and helping the poor. And having that, and the Jesuits actually had this advert in the Southern Cross looking for personnel, a vocation promotion. They were promoting it there in the Southern Cross. So I saw that advert, as they say, and that's really what brought me to the Jesuits. So I applied, had an interview, said, well, you had a number of interviews. I said, oh, come on, you know, we'll take you on. So I said, you know, it was a bit of a big challenge, of course, and I said, I'm ready. So I took it on. So here I am. So that really was the call. It was that I was interested in my heart, had that, and I think it was God's way of leading me to the society, I believe. And I think that, you know, Brian Slack's photo, picture, and the Jesuit promotion is really what brought me here to the Jesuits. So that's how I saw it, you know. So.
What was it about that photo that attracted you, that photo of Brother Brian Slack? What was he doing in that photo?
He was on a bike, believe it or not, if I remember correctly. And I think just the simplicity and also the what I knew about the conditions in India and him serving the poor, and that was really what attracted me. I think that's how I saw it.
Yeah, thank you.
Renato, given that rich experience that you've had, what would you say to a young man today if he were considering religious life or considering joining the Jesuits?
Well, I think you look at your heart, and also I think just feel where you sort of feel attracted and drawn to, and also what's touching you at the moment. Know what I mean? And I think it's sort of taking that it's a faith choice, you know. And I think really trusting the Lord, and also if you're a person who prays, if you're a person that reads. I used to read books on theology and other sort of stuff. But I was interested in it, and I think if you've got an interest in God and you've got an interest in serving, then I think that should be looked at. And if you're drawn, the Society of Jesus is a good place to come, especially in terms of how you can choose to serve and help souls. If you've got a desire to help souls, and I think the Society of Jesus is the way. And also one of the beautiful things with the Society for me is that they allow you to use your gifts and develop gifts, and I think help yourself to become a good human being. And I think that's key, being a good human being. And that's really what God wants. And the society is the way of being a good human being. Go for it.
Good on you, Renato. That's very encouraging. And thank you for spending this time with us, sharing some of your rich experience in Pakistan and now as the Novice Master. And good to have this conversation.
Okay, thanks.